Our analysis shows that last Thursday, Reform split the right-wing vote just enough in Oxfordshire and Cambridgeshire to let you gain control. So do you want to start by saying thank you to Nigel Farage?
No, I want to say thank you to all the people who voted Liberal Democrat last week. We had historic gains, winning Oxfordshire, Cambridgeshire and Shropshire for the first time ever, becoming the largest party in Devon, Gloucester, Wiltshire, Hertfordshire, and making gains across the country. It was a fabulous night for the Liberal Democrats. We overtook the Conservatives as now the second party in local government, and I think we're on track to overtake the Conservatives at the next general election. So we're very grateful for all the people who put their trust in Liberal Democrat councillors.
But it takes nothing away from your achievement to acknowledge that this has been made possible wholly or in part by the performance of Mr Nigel Farage's Reform Party.
Actually, I don't think that's true. If you look at where we've done so well, it's our community politics that have won us lots of seats. Liberal Democrats are well known for getting out there, knocking on doors, trying to get things done.
It was, as I said during the election campaign, you don't need to help you.
Well, and we took a lot of that Conservative vote. You're quite right, Trevor. Look at lots of councils. The Reform failed to break through. It was the Liberal Democrats taking on the Conservatives and beating Conservative councillors. And you don't need to take my word for it. Take the election guru, John Curtis. He said that it was the Liberal Democrats, the only party holding back reform. And we did that all over the country, actually. Look at County Durham, where Labour and Conservatives had a really bad night. Liberal Democrats gained seats, and we're now the official opposition to reform there. So I am really proud of what we've achieved. But the question is, what comes now?
Well, actually,
I'm really excited about.
I've got a question. The point is, I asked. I know you've got a question for yourself, but I've got some questions for you. And I can hear Mr Farage ringing up and saying ingratitude, ingratitude. But let's just deal with what's actually happened. For 40 years, you've been making the case for a more representative political system. So can we expect now that there is, if you like, a four-party, at least, situation, Liberal Democrats making the case for electoral reform again?
We have continued doing it for the last 100 years, Trevor, and we continue to do it now. And I notice there are people in all parties who believe what the Liberal Democrats have argued for many years now, that we need a fair voting system where everyone's vote counts. We've got people in the Labour Party who agree with that. They're probably now people in the Conservative Party, I guess, people in the Greens and others. So I think the case for electoral reform is stronger than it's ever been, frankly, Trevor, and we're going to keep making that case. We want to fix the system. You know, one of the things I heard on the doorstep were people unhappy with politics. They feel that they can't trust certainly the two big parties anymore. And I think that's why we need system change. And electoral reform is about changing the system. And I would couple that with community politics, which is where Liberal Democrats have done so well. If you're out there in the community, talking to people, listening to people, getting things done, fixing church roofs, as Kenny Bader-Knox says, then you can rebuild that trust, which is so essential.
You would yourself say you've been at this and your troops have been doing this for many, many years. Does it cheese you off a bit that you've been doing this for 20, 30 years and then Farage comes along with this party, it's only 2 years old, and he's taken a hammer to the mould and actually achieved what you wanted, but it's his achievement, not yours?
Well, listen, I think there will be a lot of people waking up and reading the papers this weekend who will be very worried about Nigel Farage's progress. And I say to them, you know, come and help the only party that stood up to them. Google joined the Liberal Democrats and help us take them on. And actually, I think Labour and Conservatives made a mistake with reform. They've tried to ape them. You know, the Conservatives have copying reform policies, Labour sounding more and more like reform. I think think the way you defeat Nigel Farage is by calling him out. And look what happened in Canada with Mark Carney, who was faced with another hard-right opponent, or Anthony Albanese just now in Australia, faced with a hard-right candidate, both of whom were supporting Trump, just like Nigel Farage does. I think we need to call Nigel Farage out for that. The Liberal Democrats have been the only party doing that, and I think the British people don't want Trump policies here. They don't want hard-right Farage policies here. So that's why I think the Liberal Democrats can grow more and more as the core and key opponent of these divisive populist politics, which ape Trump and Elon Musk.
When you call him divisive and populist and hard-right, are you saying that he and his party are a dangerous intervention in British politics?
Well, let's see what they do in local authorities, Trevor. In the election, they said they wanted to, now they run these councils, they wanted to cut funding on special education needs and disabled young people. I don't think families across the country are going to like that. When the polls closed, they said, didn't they, that, but didn't say it during the election, that they would have Trump and Musk policies in local councils. And, you know, I think people will not like it when reform councils cut the spending on insulating people's homes, because that will mean they'll have less warm homes and higher energy bills. So I think we're happy to take reform on, hold them to account, and we'll be doing that in places like Kent and County Durham and other places where we're the opposition to reform.
Well, you can do something very concrete, can't you? Because there are a number of councils which are now under no overall control. Are you going to forbid your councillors to form a coalition with Reform if the numbers fell that way? That they could be the people who keep Reform out of local government?
Well, I've got something sort of special to tell you, Trevor. Liberal Democrats believe in local democracy, in devolving power, and trusting our local councillors and local people to make the decisions for themselves rather than imposing them. But what I am very, very confident
so you don't mind your local people getting into bed with these terrible, ghastly people who want to take money away from disabled people?
No. You just cut me off. I was about to clarify something, Trevor, so don't put words in my mouth because they're not the words I believe. What I was about to say was I'm very, very confident that Liberal Democrat councils will have nothing to do with reform because their policies, whether it's hitting families with children with special needs, cutting insulation programmes that will keep people's energy bills high, and putting Trump and Musk policies into local authorities, slashing budget. That's not what Liberal Democrat councillors will support at all. We'll oppose it. We think it's the wrong thing for local communities. If we're going to fix things, like fix the roads, fix the potholes, fix social care, you can't go the way of Nigel Farage. I don't think he really cares about those sorts of people. Liberal Democrats do, and through our community politics, we're going to be on people's sides, fighting for them, working hard for them.
We've spoken many times, and you know that I'm a simple, practical kind of bloke. I've looked at some of these councils. Let's take Worcestershire, for example, where Reform won 27 out of 57 seats. To keep them out, you'd have to combine with all the other parties, including the Tories. Similar in Warwickshire, similar in Leicestershire. Are you ready to do that?
Well, let's see what local councillors choose to do. I'm very confident we won't work with Reform. But there's something that's,
you keep saying you're confident.
If I may, Trevor, you keep interrupting me. Can I finish a sentence, please? You'll find in councils up and down the country that sometimes they'll have minority control. It's quite common. And what they do is they put their policies forward, their budgets forward, and they ask people to vote on them. So you don't necessarily have to form the coalitions that you're talking about, Trevor. And what I'm really confident on this huge success for the Liberal Democrats, we'll be pushing forward Liberal Democrat policies. We are the ones who are active in the community, listening to people in the community, representing them. So I'm confident that's what Liberal Democrat councillors will do.